Hi guys, this is Klazart bringing an audio commentary, and this time I'm commentating on Game 3 of the Best of 5 series between Iris and Bisu. I apologize to you guys for the discrepancy in the placement of the commentaries. I know Game 1 was on my account, Game 2 is on Violatak account. It's a triple commentary with Diggity and Cholera, so if you guys want to watch Game 2 first before you jump to this one, please check that out. That's on the Violatak account, which you can reach by my subscriptions page. And Game 3 is back here, and the reason for this is we tried last night to do triple commentaries of the entire series because this is supposed to be an epic series, but unfortunately because of lag issues and because I'm actually visiting my family right now, and the internet connection here, to put it plainly, sucks. I'm forced to actually solo the rest of these. I'm not sure if Diggity or Cholera or both will have time to also do some commentaries of these games, so check their pages for that. They might or might not if you're looking forward to that. So I apologize for this, but unfortunately that's the way it has to be. Another thing that I actually have been wanting to tell you guys about for a little while, I did an interview recently with a StarCraft blog called The Polygon Review. I enjoyed it quite a lot, and for those of you guys who might be interested, I'll put up a link to it in the description of this video, so do check that out if you guys are interested. I warned you guys beforehand, I did make a little bit of a mistake in it towards the end, a bit of a brain slip up by me, so just to let you guys know that beforehand. Now, it looks like Iris is started up at, this is going to be on Carthage 3, Iris is started up at the bottom right in teal, Bisu at the top left in blue, and it looks like Iris is starting to wall off his choke. We've seen some great StarCraft already in this series. In Game 1, we saw Iris fool Bisu with his strategy, and in Game 2, we saw Bisu do the same to Iris. So both players playing mind games with each other, and it's just a question of who has the greater mental fortitude and what's going through the minds of these two players right now. Bisu has got his probe out there, but Iris, having walled off his choke, is preventing Bisu from getting that scout through. Looks like he's going to try, and he's brought a second SCV through, looks like he's going to sneak one of his SCVs through and going to be able to use that to scout. And it'll be interesting to see how what sort of strategy Bisu goes for in this game. And Bisu looks like he's going for a 14 Nexus here, folks. Bisu going for what might be a really gutsy and really clever move, or what might cost him in the end. He's doing a great job of slowing Iris down as well, slowing Iris' SCV down, scouting SCV, keeping it there in his base by harassing it non-stop, therefore giving himself that extra bit of time. The earlier your opponent discovers that you've gone for something like a 14 Nexus, especially versus a Terran, the more pressure you could find yourself under. Iris finally putting that SCV away, pushing that SCV out towards Bisu's base, almost got it killed. Looks like Iris lifts the barracks up to put another SCV out there as well. I've got to tell you guys, I really feel for Iris. I feel that Iris is one of those players who has always performed well consistently, and he's one of those players who's kind of in the twilight zone between S-Class and A-Class. He reminds me a little bit of the way Stork was when he was winning all those silver titles but never really being able to reach the championship, although I think Stork was perhaps slightly ahead of where Iris is right now, in that Iris hasn't reached finals as consistently as Stork has. And I think that's the main difference between Iris and Stork is the consistency of the two players. However, Iris, in my opinion, on his day, out of all the so-called Terran players who could have been great, like C Shield and Kanata and all the other Terran players, I feel that Iris is the Terran player most capable of taking games and series against players like Bisu. And now Iris is going to spot that 14 Nexus from Bisu. Yeah, I feel Iris is the player who's the most capable of taking games and series out of the Terran, I guess, A-class players against players like Bisu. And I feel that Iris is horribly been underrated throughout his career, and I've been a huge fan of his ever since I saw his series against Xavier, the first series obviously which I commented, which was my first ever set of commentaries. And Iris now looks like he's going for the 1-fac into CC build, which is not surprising considering that he's only had one SCV on his gas for a while, and also considering that he's seen Bisu's 14 Nexus, so he knows that he doesn't want to fall too far behind in his economy. I mean, when you see an opponent go 14 Nexus, you kind of have two choices. Either you put down another factory straight away and just try and put a lot of pressure on them, or as early as possible, or you try and put pressure on them, but also make sure you don't fall too far behind an economy. I think Iris has gone for a slightly safer option. Besides, Iris was kind of limited in his choice of build anyway by the fact that he'd only been mining the one gas, and if he decided to switch it up, I think he would have put himself even further behind. So he's better off just going off with his build and trying to then put a little bit of pressure on Bisu in the early mid-game. Bisu looks like he's now putting down his second gateway. And yeah, Bisu, I feel, has given himself an advantage because he's put that 14 Nexus down, he's delayed Iris' scout, and the build that Iris has gone for wasn't really ideal to put pressure on Bisu's strategy in this game anyway. And so what that means is that Bisu's going to have a decent economy and is going to have a strong economy going into the mid-game. And when a player like Bisu gets even a small advantage like that, it's incredibly difficult for anyone to claw it back against them, even a player like Iris. Although I do feel that now that Iris knows he's a little bit behind in terms of his economy, economy. He knows that he can't just let Bisu reap the rewards of his economy. Now RS putting that second factory down, machine shop spinning away. They're probably going to get Vulture spider mines, and look, probably Vulture speed up because he already has spider mines, and he's just putting a couple of spider mines outside Bisu's front door. And I think that's a smart idea because Iris needs to put a little bit of pressure on Bisu and try and contain him and prevent him from getting another expansion on. Looks like Bisu is putting that robotics facility down now. Yeah, I think this kind of choice of strategy by Bisu actually suits Iris' playstyle more than any other players. Iris is a player who's brilliant at being aggressive, and especially at being super aggressive. And by Bisu fast expanding, white guy with a white guy, two white guys actually. You're with two white guys, my friend. But a classic sign there in the crowd. And I've commented this on this in the past, how we're seeing more and more international fans attending Pro Korean StarCraft events. Looks like Bisu now putting his academy down as well and putting spider mines down. Looks like he's really afraid of that DT build from... Sorry, Aris putting the spider mines down. Looks like he's putting Starport down as well. Looks like he's really afraid of DT drops from Bisu, considering what Bisu did in the last game. Bisu's DTs do strike terror in the heart of his opponents, and Bisu indeed is putting that Citadel of Avalon down as well as an observatory. But looking at what Bisu was doing, I don't think that Bisu was looking to go for DTs, although he could potentially go for a DT drop, although I don't feel that that's what he would go for, just considering the position that he's in, and considering the fact that he saw Iris' build and that he knows that Iris would have a good chance of being well prepared for it. Iris now coming in with a group of vultures, but he clearly is very afraid of that DT drop off Bisu's or DTs from Bisu. But he's doing a good job of locking Bisu down in his front door and preventing Bisu from getting another expansion up. Iris has got a couple of spider mines in his base. He's got a starport out as well, now putting the control tower down as well. He's got his two factories with machine shop spinning, and he's got his armory building now as well. As I said, Iris now has brought that racks over. He's seen the robotics facility, so that's going to make him think definitely about potential DTs. And Bisu now putting his third and fourth gateway down. So I don't think he's going to be going for DTs, because if he was going for them, we would have seen that Templar Archives by now, which we haven't yet seen. Okay, the Templar Archives is up, so there's still a possibility that he might be potentially going for DTs. Although I don't think he would have put that third and fourth gateway down had he been going for that choice of strategy. Bisu now has got his observer out, just pushing out a little bit with those Dragoons. Iris is going to come and circle around with those vultures and just run quickly past them. He wants to make sure that Bisu doesn't form any sort of perimeter that allows him to keep Iris out. Iris wants to keep marauding and keep raiding and keep putting the pressure on Bisu. I'm not sure who that is that the camera focused on. And indeed, we're seeing a Stargate for Bisu, so we're not going to be seeing DTs. We're seeing a Stargate for Bisu, and we're now seeing an Arbiter Tribunal for Bisu as well. So Bisu going straight to Arbiters, and I've got to be honest with you guys, I'm not sure how great an idea this is, because Bisu was ahead. Now Iris is taking the expansion at the 5 o'clock position. Bisu was ahead after the 14 Nexus build. He was ahead in terms of his economy. And Iris now has got that dropship out. Looks like he might be going for a drop with some vultures probably into Bisu's base. He had a couple of siege tanks out as well, so we might be seeing siege tanks as well. And meanwhile, Iris just putting some more spider mines. Bisu looks like he's trying to take his expansion at the 1 o'clock position as well. Iris just loading up the dropship with a couple of vultures. And looks like he's going to be going in for that drop. I'm not sure how well prepared Bisu is for this. Bisu is trying to take that expansion just south of his main, just south of the 12 o'clock position. Bisu does have some Dragoons in his base, however, to counter this drop from Iris. When Iris comes in with the vultures, it'll be a question of how effective this drop can be for Iris, whether he can kill a few probes or not. He does have that racks floating over though, so he should be able to see the positioning of those Dragoons and hopefully avoid them as he comes in for the drop. Meanwhile, Bisu is taking that expansion south of the 12 o'clock position. He's got a few Dragoons there. Iris now dropping the vultures. He's able to get the